Welcome to the skills development sector discussion. As we know, the industry sector is growing rapidly in Bangladesh, creating a huge demand for skilled workforce, not only in Bangladesh and also for the overseas market. There are a couple of projects that have started in Bangladesh, like the TVET reform project, the STP project, and the Asian Development Bank project, all trying to develop the skills and manpower developments. A new concept has been developed through the TVET reform project and other projects. Center of Excellence has emerged, and today we have people from the industry to discuss here how this Center of Excellence came about, and especially we are going to talk about the leather sector. They have named it COEL, Center of Excellence for the Leather Sector. Now, to introduce our team today, I'll start with Mr. Nasim Mansoor, who is the President of the Bangladesh Leather Goods and Footwear Manufacturing and Exporters Association, and also the Managing Director of Apex Edelchi. We also have from the Swiss Development Corporation, the Head of Corporation, Mr. Derek Muller, who's been instrumental in finding the support for COEL. And from the government side, we have Mr. Shahjahan Mia, who's the Director General of the Directorate of Technical Education, and also the National Project Director of the TVET Reform Project. And finally, we have Mr. Mominul Ahsan, who's the CEO of the Center of Excellence for Leather in Bangladesh. Gentlemen, welcome. And before we start, I would like to have a quick look at the COEL.
Center of Excellence for Leather Skill Bangladesh Limited, or COEL, is an industry-driven initiative in Bangladesh to address the shortage of skilled workers in the leather sector. The major purpose of this non-profit institute is to become a one-point resource center for the leather sector. The leather sector in Bangladesh contributes around 3% of the GDP and has a huge potential for growth. The industry is expanding fast, and this has created a large demand for skilled workers. To this need, the Industry Skills Council, or the ISC for the leather sector, took the initiative to establish a Center of Excellence for Leather Skill Bangladesh Limited. The initiative is being supported by the International Labour Organization, the European Union, the Swiss Development Corporation, and the price of USAID.
Skills development is a clear priority for us in Bangladesh. Under the Technical and Vocational Education and Training Reform Project funded by the European Union, significant milestones have been achieved in terms of developing a national vocational qualifications framework and also a national skills development policy for Bangladesh. Any skills development activities will have to respond to the market needs, and therefore the industry involvement is very, very important. And in the leather sector, COEL, the Center of Excellence in Leather, has shown a model which clearly established a direct link with the market through the private sector. So the private sector players decide what exactly are the requirements for them, and therefore accordingly people are trained on the needs of the industry, so there is no gap. Now many sectors are very keenly looking at how COEL can be replicated. The immediate impact could be on the ready-made garment sector. COEL type of centers are likely to be established through several interventions in garment sector, but also other sectors with the support of development partners, and also government is very keenly following the developments in leather sector so that similar expansion can be made. I'm happy to see that the COEL model has already been extended to Chittagong in collaboration with BRAC. And I think a number of centers of excellence on this model are likely to come up, both with the private sector and also with other development partners keenly interested in.
We've done many things, including setting up industry skills councils. We had this national skills development policy approved. We've also done some things in terms of quality. For example, we've developed a quality assurance framework. In addition to that, we've been working with the industry skills councils. So we have half a dozen of those councils set up already, with many more coming. We had worked with the leather sector for some months, and we got engaged with them by offering some short-term training programs. based on that initial effort, we came back to them and said, what about apprenticeship? And they said, well, what do you mean? Well, you have a demand for thousands of workers. When we set up these formal training programs, we'll be able to train dozens of workers at a time, dozens of supervisors, dozens of, say, machine technicians. But you want thousands of operators, and the formal TVET system will not work for that. But apprenticeship might. And so they set up this novel training center in part of a warehouse they had in Gazipur. They put in some equipment, we put in some equipment, they put in some instructors, we put in some advisors to help them develop and formalize their training materials. And so within a few months, we had this Center of Excellence for leather operating.
The COEL also maintains close linkage with the government, and the certificates for the COEL courses are issued by the government's Bureau of Manpower, Employment and Training, or BMET. Established in 2009, the center is currently offering training courses in 3 different trades using apprenticeship models. The COEL Center in Gazipur offers excellent training opportunities, housing modern machinery for training and a skilled training staff. The center has supported the creation of over 3,000 skilled workers. Because of the close linkage between the COEL and industry, all COEL trainees get employed by the industry right after the completion of their training courses. The training method and course curricula have been standardized to meet the requirements of the NTVQF based on skills requirements set by the industry.
We will start with Mr. Nasim and ask how this Center of Excellence and COEL came about, because we know that you have been involved with this from the very inception. Would you like to tell us, your involvement and what you have seen in the last 2 to 3 years?
Thank you, Francis. It's been a very interesting journey for us. As you remember, 2008, we started talking about the needs of industry, and I remember ILO approached us, in fact it was yourself and myself, in a room talking about what you can do to help skills development. And I remember a very free and frank discussion about needs of industry and how industry could grow to its full potential as long as we could find skilled workers. It was a very fundamental problem of machine operators on the shop floor. From 2008, by 2009, we had already organized the industry-wide retreat. We had brought people from across the industry, local manufacturers, exporters, government, potential donors, in a retreat, and started talking about what was needed. We managed to get consensus, and we managed to map a way forward, which I think was very pragmatic and very actionable. From there, by end of 2009, we had actually registered COEL as a not-for-profit entity in Bangladesh, which was again a first, to the best of my knowledge. Completely led, if I may say, by the private sector, but of course supported by our government and development partners. And then by June of 2011, we were in operation. So it's really been quite remarkable. The output, as a private sector person, we always look at output. 3,000 people trained, more than 65% women, 89% of them have a job. But more importantly, creating good jobs. On average, a COEL graduate has a 12% higher salary than if they were not trained by COEL. So these are the kind of output parameters that we look at to judge success or not success. So we hope one day COEL will expand not only in Bangladesh, but beyond the borders of Bangladesh.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that, Nasim. And it's great news. It's remarkable, I would say, in such a short time to come from that 2008 to up to here. Derek, coming back to you, Swiss Development Corporation is playing a pivotal role within a project of EU, and you are coming in for a niche area of leather, and you have selected, machine operator, which is a large demanding area. Can you give us a little bit more your vision and your involvement in this?
Thank you, Francis. Thanks for hosting this inspiring discussion today. From the perspective of a development agency that wants to be helpful and useful for Bangladesh to reach its development goals, obviously skills development is key. And this is why we, Swiss Development Corporation, have chosen skills development as one of the 3 topics where we support Bangladesh. Now we believe that if Bangladesh wants to stay competitive and reach its goals, skills development has to be the result of a private-public partnership. It has to be a shared responsibility between private sector and public sector. And we were delighted to find just this vision in the framework of the TVET project, and more specifically with COEL. So working with COEL, with the public sector, with the industry towards achieving the skills development objectives is something we're very happy to do. We can be sure that partnering with COEL allows us to address also issues with regard to skilling those people who from a poverty perspective or from a gender perspective are most important, will get their share in Bangladesh development. So for us all together, COEL is an opportunity which we are very fond of. We are very happy to partner with government, with the industry, and we are hoping at replicating our experience that we're currently working with COEL in hopefully other industrial sectors in the future.
The European Union, the Swiss Development Corporation, and the prior to the USAID have been supporting the COEL initiative at various stages. The development partners have rendered technical as well as financial support to turn this pioneering industry effort for skills training into a reality.
Well, I think the important thing in working on apprenticeship is to link the demand for skilled young people to the supply of labour. And I've seen in talking to the producers of leather that they are crying out for trained people. There's a huge demand, unfulfilled demand at the moment for maybe 30, 40,000 skilled Bangladeshis. That's why this sector was chosen. Private sector, the producers were there. They were asking for this, and the government was involved, and the TVET project was acting in a way in the middle to try and set up the facilities. So this I see as a very pragmatic and useful use of development assistance. It's needed right now. It's the link between the young people who are looking for a job in Bangladesh, the producers who are looking to export, and Europe, which is providing a market for those goods. And I think it's something worth continuing, particularly in the leather sector, but there are other sectors where such centres of excellence could be useful.
The development partners find the COEL and the partnership forged between the industry, the government and the development partners to be an excellent model for replication in other sectors.
I'm very particularly interested, you mentioned a couple of times the importance of private-public partnership. And I would say that the role that you are playing more as a catalyst, coming together, bringing these partners together with ILO TVET project. I think that's the essence of taking this forward. I will come back to you later on, Derek, to get more. Now I would like to come to Mr. Sajan Mia, who's the National Project Director of the TVET project, which has a big responsibility, and especially to bridge the gap between the industry and the government. This is one of the key things that we have done, and the role that you have played, is very, very vital. Can you share with your vision,
Yes.
Mr. Sajan?
Thank you, Mr. Francis. The country like Bangladesh, there is a huge gap between industry and education. We actually need to reduce this gap, and COEL is an example for us. They are doing very important role regarding public-private partnership. We are very happy to work with them, and COEL has got some assistance or support from our TVET reform project. We would like to replicate its functions in other sectors or in other areas also.
Thank you, that. Because especially DTE operates technical schools and colleges, throughout the country.
Yeah.
So in the past, I understand BGME has, similar sort of training.